Crazy how time flies when I wonder if the path is in the right direction. But I do believe things come to light by accident when it rains on. Sounds like it's meant to be.
Excess, how's it going, man? Be brave. How far you go? Gami, how's it going, man?
When there's a beginning, there's an ending too. As we go,
Shit, seriously?
across many predicaments.
Dude, I'm actually getting worse at Wordle somehow. What the fuck? You see the LTM MMO stuff? No. What happened, Quinn? Is there like a trailer? Is there like a gameplay looks nice? Oh, gameplay's out. What the fuck? Chrissy boy, how's it going, buddy? Y'all moved in? I'm doing my groceries online right now, so you need to get out the heat. I'm gonna let Jesus, coming. Okay, like we don't have that. Okay, Jesus, coming. Hold on. Hold on. Let me try to find that. We have a Canada equivalent of this meme. Let me try to see if I can find it. This is the Canada equivalent of the meme. The perfect weather to get a minimum wage worker to deliver me some nice hot food. There was one where there's one I'm thinking of in particular. I can't find it, but basically it's basically like when the weather's really really bad, like it's snowing a fuck ton, and then and the joke is like, oh man, it's too bad. The roads are so bad. It's too bad for me to drive out there. Let me get a 16-year-old in his mom's Toyota Corolla to deliver it. Oh, stuff for that MMORPG. All right, let's go. Take a look. In the new house, we spent $1,000 on a couple of shit from Walmart. That's how that goes, bro. It's cancer, AIDS shit. I thought. Yeah, oh my god, that is getting started. Have fun. Okay, let's go. Dude, this looks beautiful. What the fuck? Obviously, I know this is not gameplay, but that looks beautiful. Damn. COI University, I guess? Damn. Brother, they're going all out with these animations. What the fuck? so good. Chinese, what do you call it? Beauty standards are absolutely fucking insane. Jesus. Gonna pre-order GTA 6 later today. I will do it sometime next week as well, yeah. Whoa. Dude, look at how pale she is. How pale everyone looks. Damn, okay, this horse guy's goated. Can we even pre-order this right now, can we? No, Daly's pale as fuck. This is true. No, okay, yeah. That's what I thought. Damn, that looks beautiful. Are we gonna get any gameplay? Someone mentioned gameplay. We're getting gameplay, right? It's supposed to be free to play also? Oh, really? Buddy, I have never spent more money on a paid game than I have on a free to play game, okay? Free things cost the most, truly. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. It's like the gameplay's giving very Genshin Impact. Not. How's it going, man? Nice. Okay. So perfect dodges will give you that little Quicksilver or whatever. What song is this that I'm hearing in the background? They're trolling with it? Yeah, they are, right? Okay. It's a motor. That's why. Okay, yeah. Oh, whoa! You get like horses. This is cool. Okay, you can traverse rooftops as well. That's cool. What is the... This is... What is the chopping wood side activity? What the fuck is this? Dude, I love it. Oh, wow. That's a... Okay, that's a lot. Okay, look at this. All this character customization. Not one character who has the slightest bit of color in their face. Look at... She has white hair and her skin is somehow whiter than her fucking white hair. Oh my god. Not one. They couldn't make one of them ASIC, just even for the hell of it. They're like, nah, people are not gonna like it, boys. Dude, what is this bootleg GTA? Haven't seen one brother yet. True. Dude, this is GTA Sim. What the? Oh my god, this is a GTA RP server. What the fuck is this? Oh. Average Britisher tries to stab you but doesn't know that you're an American visiting. It pulls out the Glock. Catch these hands, bitch. What is with the fucking bicycle on the rooftop? Why is that? How do you get the bicycle up there, bro? You can just roller skate on the fucking rails? I feel like they're doing too much. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I feel like I feel like they should have a much more narrow focus for the game, whereas it feels like they're saying like, hey, what if we have like cars? I guess we could do. What if we have bikes too? Okay. What if we have bicycles too? Okay. What if we have like shooting civilians too? Okay. What if we have flying too? Like, all right, right. Yeah, I think you're. What is this? What what sequence is this? Don't get me wrong, I will still play it. I'll probably still have fun too. It feels like the sort of thing where I'm hoping this is multiplayer. Oh no, someone said MMO, right? Yeah, okay, so it's MMO. So playing this with like friends would be so fun. Yeah, you can choose to hide every other player and play on your own. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, but like playing, I feel like this would only be fun if you're playing with friends. If you're trying to play this by yourself, this is gonna be like boring. I assume in time they'll also probably have like guild mechanics or something. Looks like they're trying to be Where Winds Meet. Maybe, yeah. I haven't played Where Winds Meet, but I've like seen gameplay and stuff. No, it won't. I love MMOs by myself. I can never do MMOs by myself. It gets, like, I get bored immediately. See you, Captain Panda. How's it going, guys? How you watching the gameplay actually reminds me of who's NTE, or what's NTE. Okay, it doesn't look horrible. It does feel to me like they're doing too much, for sure. There's already 1,000-player 4v4 mode where you play as a follower of one of the 4 emperors during the war. I mean, not how. It's a gacha. Oh, I see. Which gacha is NTE? What the fuck is this quality? Okay, there you go. It's fine. Okay, I wish this would. Okay, I wish I could read any of this, but it is what it is. What is happening? It's a quiz that pushes you to a certain class depending on the answers. Oh, it's like the Hogwarts sorting hat. Oh, it'll tell you like, hey, based on this, we think this would be recommended. Oh yeah, okay. It does look like every other gacha slop game running at 30 FPS. I don't know about I'm sure it'll run at 60. That's not the issue, but it does seem very gacha. It's gonna be a gacha game. It seems like but I mean, again, I'm not super opposed to it. That's how I figured it was gonna be. It's legit NTE. But what the fuck is NTE, bro? Neverness to Everness? What the fuck is that name? I mean, it seems to be rated like 70-80% across the board, so it's not horrible, I suppose. That's the pathway selection demo video. Let's go. Where am I? Oh, okay. Retake the class compatibility survey. Cool. Pathway name. Seer, spectator, apprentice, warrior, bard, measure prior, gender. Choose this pathway. Class difficulty, and then your where it supports to. Okay, that makes sense. Negative Nancy over here. I won't shit. Yeah, like it's still super early to give any kind of like, well, I think it'll be good or it'll be bad or what. There's also a map. Oh, wow. Okay. That's a decent sized map for sure. That's definitely a Genshin sized map that feels like. And then obviously it leaves a lot of room to expand and stuff as well if they wanted to, and if the game does well and all that bullshit. But Yeah, no, it looks fine. As always, I'm gonna be a bit hesitant to put too much stock into the game right now this early on when we know so little. MMO beta. Dude, this is so sad. Why can't... Oh my god, there's a guy with a Doraemon PFP. I love that guy immediately. I know nothing about any of them, mind you. I don't even know his name. But immediately fan of this guy. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, once the beta testing comes out tomorrow and we can see some more gameplay, see how that goes. This group of streamers on Douyin will do a 12-hour beta baton pass streaming. Jesus Christ. Okay, base. Oh god, bless Wind Valley. Did work out. No, that'll be fun. Once we get to see more gameplay, that'll definitely assist a little bit. But I mean, so far it doesn't look huge. I got some huge MMO streamer to restream that on his Twitch. Oh, cool. Knon153. Okay. Yeah. We gotta make a church on the... Yeah, if they have like a clan faction or something, we'll definitely do something like that on the server. Alright. Oh, I think the guy's live right now. What the fuck? Yeah, he's live right now. Oh, he is a decent sized streamer. He's averaging like 1,000 views. It's huge. Wait, do you want the author notes before reading? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do author notes. Yeah. Sent in general? Okay. I didn't have time to watch the end of the stream. What did you think of Volume 5? Oh, it was amazing. Seer. I'm still pissed as fuck though that Roselle dies or like goes back to his slumber and will return in 100 years or whatever. That's kind of ass. I am still ass pained about that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it was a good volume ender overall. I can see why you guys love it so much. It was definitely very good. I would probably end up putting it something like, I don't know, second or third overall, I believe. I feel like... Wow, those are long author notes. Okay. The 5th volume is finally finished. This is a very important volume for the whole book, so it ended up being about 100,000 words longer than expected. However, this was necessary. Otherwise, all earlier setups would have been wasted. Not following through would have been irresponsible towards the novel. As previously mentioned, this means the 6th volume will be delayed and won't be released until the end of June or early July. The volume is titled Demoness. Firstly, this volume focuses on the fight for 001. Secondly, it deals with the disaster of the Project Vortex. Thirdly, exploring themes of pain, twistedness, despair, and including emotional entanglements and final declarations of feeling. Lastly, LEMMiNO is forced to embark on the life of a demoness. Just like in the Lord of Mysteries Book 1, where choosing a pathway determines your friend and enemies, I now want to say that choosing a pathway also determines the writing style. Writing the Hunter pathway and the City of Calamities cannot be done in the same style as the Seer pathway and the Cipher Castle. On the one hand, the sense of mystery would significantly decrease for old readers familiar with Book 1 and its plot devices. On the other hand, due to the law of characteristic convergence, Hunter and Demoness are destined to encounter and entangle with each other, inevitably mixing with male-female relationships, pain, and twistedness. We also got a female lead. Let's go! No one's ever throwing those misogynistic allegations at him now. Volume 6 of COI is your favorite. Oh wow, that's cool. And then I know 7 and 8 are hella short, so they kind of bleed into each other. I could avoid those aforementioned situations, but then what's the point of writing Hunter and Demoness? It would end up feeling the same as Seer, so once the pathway and writing style are chosen, many things are determined. Amongst the things that were determined by the Hunter Demoness writing style are the idea that the Hunter must transition a Demoness at least once, and the Demoness must transition a Hunter at least once. A predetermined story setting since Book 1, or in other words, from the beginning. This is evident in the condition of Cheek, and why Cheek uses Trissie's power to disrupt the Lone Kingdom's Black Emperor Ascension ceremony. A kingdom who is in cooperation with Cheek's faction. This is all tied to the plot story around the special mirror world in the City of Calamities. As such, choosing this pathway for the MC means there will inevitably be a period in the Demoness state. This is weird. So if you need to entangle between the pathways to approach the higher sequences and maintain rationality and, truly approach the peak, wouldn't that mean wouldn't that mean that Cheek would then prefer pure female demonesses? Because then she would know that they're of less threat, whereas a male who transitions to demoness would have... Well, I guess it's not the Hunter pathway. I'm just thinking purely gender-based, so that doesn't make full sense, but still, okay. Returning to the opening quotes of Volume 5, it has many layers of meaning. Firstly, Amon asking Lumen on Adam's behalf. Secondly, the hidden Adam asking Bernadette, asking the Terror Club members and all those who were involved. Thirdly and fourthly, outside the novel. Thirdly, this is asking the readers if they accept such choice, transitions, and developments. And fourthly, asking myself if I can accept the consequence of writing all this. I know very well the setup of the book. Volume 1's numerous foreshadowing can be fully resolved in the late of Volume 5. The actual main storyline of Volume 2 is a psychological therapy conducted by Adam. Volume 5's declaration of during moments of despair and the emotional entanglements in the demonesses and Lumen's own transition to demoness. All of the above can either cause a poor reading experience or requires readers to read the entire Volume 5 in one go to feel comfortable, or step on many readers' landmines, triggering people, resulting in criticism. Therefore, I'm asking if I can accept such an ending. Yeah, but she's salty they got to have it easy. If this were the time I wrote Record of Extinction Destiny or even earlier, my answer would have likely been the Floating Clouds readers do not cover the moon. Me, oh, the go. He said, you are insignificant to my plans. I write as I will, and if you do not enjoy it, fuck off. My heart is like iron, even if I die. Now, as I've grown older and I've grown more gentle and can no longer see myself as superior, viewing all opposing opinions as wrong. I no longer think I'm the Tao pursuer and I'm always correct while others are wrong. After 13 years of writing, having experienced a lot, I increasingly feel that it's just everyone's life experiences are different and what they can accept differs. And the issue of who is right and wrong, who is higher or lower, does not exist in the end. So my answer is, I can foresee potential disagreements, I can imagine the criticisms that will inevitably come, but I still choose the style and volume ending regardless of whether it is good or bad. Speaking of which, and so now my answer is speaking of which, the previous phrase, the floating clouds does not cover the moon, in seeking the Tao, my heart is like iron even if I die, comes from my first novel, Record of Extinction Destiny. I've always wanted to write a similar novel again, not in terms of subjects or themes, but in philosophical essence. I do not care. Returning to the topic of the volume, I still want to say that I actually wrote Volume 1 quite well. Many details are hidden, full of symbolic meanings, and ultimately all got corresponding responses in Volume 5. Let's review the opening quotes of the previous 4 volumes. The first volume is, a price is always exacted for what fate bestows. Now you know its fate and deepest meaning, right? Second volume is, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Now you know who said this, right? Adam? Everyone is a third volume is, everyone is a hunter and everyone is a prey. This should have a deeper meaning now, right? The fourth volume is, O merciful Lord, I plead for thy forgiveness for the sins I have committed. It is thematically correct with one of the hidden themes of the current volume. When viewed together, I think it's quite interesting. As for Volume 2, though it has always been criticized, it is writing using a brand new style after all. I can finally conclude that its overall completion is okay. I disagree. The plot arrangements of Volume 2 is actually based on Lumen's psychological state. Comfortable when he is well and oppressive when he is in pain, cathartic when he explodes. The changes in plot and style imply and symbolize Lumen's psychological state, and the different plots have different effects on Lumen's psychological problems. The hidden plot points of Volume 2 have always been Adam's psychological treatment report. In Volume 5, I'm quite satisfied with the emotional entanglement part, especially the first back and forth question and answer conversation between Jenna and Lumion. The surface dialogue, actual meaning, and the subtle brewing in the background are all of a certain beauty. Unfortunately, as a web novel, not writing clearly sometimes is a problem. I too often skim through other novels quickly when reading, simply taking in bits and pieces to skip ahead, so later on I decided to write a bit more straightforwardly in terms of declaring feelings, but it does indeed fit Freyka's character. He's talking about me, guys, I do the same thing, Overall, I'm quite satisfied with Volume 5. No. As for some of the dialogue lines that seem to affect character images, they're actually well thought out and pondered by me. I don't know if you have ever had emotionally charged exchanges with family or friends. Some words are completely unfiltered, some are regretted as soon as they are uttered, and some instinctively exaggerated to express inner feeling. If one can be so rational and clear-headed in such a scenario, knowing what to say and what not to, they wouldn't be demonesses and hunters. And that is true. It's like, you say a thing because like, you've been building it up in your mind and it just explodes, and then as soon as you utter it, you go, fuck, that was so stupid. As for the dialogue lines that seem to affect character images, they're actually, nope. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with the volume, though it does seem to have certain issues. Firstly, the hints beforehand were insufficient. True! Lacking a mental buffer period. Secondly, there are problems with the plot performance of weaker characters in terms of sequence. Thirdly, there are too many characters. I sometimes feel it is overwhelming to manage them all. The pain of writing sequels. To explain this more detail, my daughter right now just urged me to go out and play with her, so I guess I'll stop here. The next volume is Dreamweaver. Everyone knows whose dream it is. If you don't, I'm disappointed in you. The volume opening quote is not yet decided, as it does not fall within the framework of the previous 5 volume opening quotes. Oh, interesting. Okay. As usual, I'll take a few days off to rest and outline the story evening. So Thursday, Friday, whatever. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to Abraham's Notebook for the Silver Alliance reward, and a few others I can only thank in the next volume. Do, 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 do. Volume 5 got huge backlash due to misogyny and transphobic knuckle draggers. I wonder whose dream he's talking about. I have two options, okay? Now, the fact he's saying, "What do you mean, no? Well, I'm disappointed in you. Fuck you, okay? Do you think I care what you think of me? I do not. I stand above your mere opinions of me." I have two options, okay? One is ASIC's, obviously, or ASIC, what the fuck? Sorry, God, you said ASIC, that's why it fucked me up, Chris, fuck you, okay? One is Adam's dream of, like, humanity, you know, being okay after the crisis, you know, all that stuff. Second, now this one is a bit of more of a stretch, is Klein's dream. Because, motherfucker, this guy's gotta wake up, bro. We gotta have the apocalypse soon, and this motherfucker's taking a big nap. Chop, chop, motherfucker. We need you. Back up. So, I don't know. One of those two. My instinct is to say Adam, because it's more obvious. But Cuttlefish rarely goes for obvious, so it could also be Klein. Like, maybe he wakes up now. Sear did say he really enjoys this volume. It would make sense if Klein wakes up now. This motherfucker's got up. Who will become the next angel or above the sequence in this story? Well, Evernight, I would assume, should be soon, I guess. Because, come on, chop chop. And then, obviously, at the end, Lumin's going to become the great old one of the Hunter and Demoness pathways. Well, that part's obvious, so... Anyone, I would think Evernight beats him first in terms of timeline, but I mean, I could be wrong. Susie overtakes at the finish line. Susie overtakes Adam, you think? God Almighty versus Dog Almighty? It's close. Out of the box answers? Oh, I'm sorry. The God of Knowledge eats Adam, because he has a big he's a dragon, so he eats Adam. becomes the great old one, becomes God Almighty. Lumin at the end said he needs to go somewhere, right? I assume he went to go speak to Madam Magician? I don't know. Where did he go? You guys can tell I'm growing increasingly more and more of a bitch because I refuse to even put the titles on 2 lines anymore because it's just too much effort to try to center them out. Okay. Dreams are reality, despair is hope. The sunset light shone through the window, casting a dim light through the room. Before you start, what happens in this volume? So we already said that most of Lumin's potion is already digested. So most of his potion of despair is already despair? Yeah, is already digested. So he digests it pretty quickly. Once it's digested, either Herabergen or the God of Knowledge or the Tarot Club, someone gives him the... You know you can copy paste? Yeah, I can, but whatever. Right? And then, so he digests it, and someone gives him this characteristics to digest the next Hunter one quickly. Because I think they said he needs to switch back and forth the whole way up now, so he needs to go Demoness, Hunter, Demoness 2, Hunter 1, Primordial Demoness? Well, I guess maybe he doesn't need to constantly. So maybe he can do like Demoness, Hunter, Demoness, Hunter, Hunter. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That can also work. And then Great Old One. Dreams are reality. Despair is hope. The sunset light shone through the window, casting a dim light at the golden red glow in the room. Except for Lugano, who had taken Ludwig to explore the local cuisine of the City of Silver, Franca, Jenna, and Anthony remained in the room, listening to Lumin recount what had happened after they parted ways. Lumin recounted the key story points of Chermy Boris becoming Amon, the psychological treatment report Amon had read out, and the subsequent story script, all in a detached manner as if he were an outside observer. That low and indifferent voice entered everyone's ears, making them feel a suffocating pain of despair. This was not physical pain, nor the kind of despair when facing death. It came from one's own pure insignificance, one's own powerlessness, and the realization that one's beliefs, emotions, and decisions are actually the product of someone else. I feel like for the potion digestion, the despair that comes from one's own powerlessness is the one that's most relevant. The despair of feeling like you are utterly incapable of affecting your own outcome is like the most brutal kind of despair, because that's what, like, I think anxiety is, right? Anxiety is like when you know when you know something bad's about to happen but you're powerless to change it. Like you think you did really shitty on an exam and other teachers giving back the exam with the marks. I have no ability to change the mark now. I just have to sit there like a good little boy and just take it. I just have to sit there and go, motherfucker, I know I failed this bitch. Franca couldn't help but think of the lab mice she used to work with frequently. She finally understood why Lumin, despite not being averse to switching to Demoness pathway, was still in pain over advancing to a demigod. His emotional state suppressed. Looking at the familiar yet strange face, the expressionless, beautiful visage, Franca felt an inexplicable heartache and pity. As Lumin finished recounting his final choice, the room fell into silence. After a moment, Franca took the initiative and said, "I never imagined the black chair could also be arranged by that individual. Wasn't it something from the Demoness sect? If not for the black tier, would there be a white tier or a grey tier? If they can't arrange the vessel for the Demoness's descent, can't they arrange for other Demonesses?" Lumin responded. Seeing this in this state, Jenna felt a wave of sadness and heartache. With her experience, she would rather Lumion be in a state of rage, or directly show the pain at the bottom of his heart. Despite being like a dried up well, all his emotions pressed down. Alright, how's it going, man? Frank had a similar feeling. She had almost instinctively made a self-deprecating remark. I never thought Jenna and I would have the same place in the script. Even if our role was just to stabilize your mental state, providing a stable anchor point when you advanced to becoming the demoness of despair. The word anchor was something she had encountered a few times with Madame Judgment, suspecting it was related to how high sequence beyonders stabilize their own state. The higher the sequence, the easier it was to go mad. An anchor seemed to be external help to strengthen self-awareness. It's not just that. LEMMiNO is still wearing a black coat set in a tone of matter-of-fact tone. It also means to prevent me from becoming addicted to the feeling of Aurora's soul fragment gradually reviving, unwilling to switch back to the hunter pathway and gradually abandoning my self-identification as a male. Franca stood up from the large sofa that she could curl up and looked at LEMMiNO and said, I don't like the way you put it, as if Jenna and I have become tools. Black tear only made the problem erupt earlier. It doesn't mean it didn't exist. It doesn't mean that the emotions and thoughts in our hearts were created out of thin air, that they appeared because of him. I only speak for myself, and my attitude is that I won't persuade you to switch back to the hunter pathway, nor will I care if you're a demoness or a hunter. I am glad that Aurora still has a chance of coming back, and I am looking forward to seeing her come back. But what I value more is you, LEMMiNO, the one who has gone through so many things with us and shared so many memories. At this point, Franca was at a loss for words, not knowing how to express her thoughts. Jenna also stood up and said, I would be happy to see Aurora resurrect through you, but I don't want you to give up on yourself because of it. In this world, there are people who care of LEMMiNO, who like and value him. Yes, Franca echoed. LEMMiNO's eyes looked at the two demonesses with a faint light flickering in their depths. He didn't respond to either of their words, but he didn't object to or mock to their statements either. Just as Jenna and Franca were about to say something, they saw Anthony give them a look, indicating that this was just right and LEMMiNO should be left alone now to think. Too much comfort or confession would only bring about the opposing effect. Franca closed her mouth and realized a fact. Anthony was here. Doesn't that mean he heard everything? Embarrassing! Jenna sat back in her original position, trusting the psychiatrist's judgment. As for her own emotional outburst just now, she didn't feel shy about it. She knew Anthony had seen through it long ago. Anthony sighed. As a normal, almost middle-aged man, he was grateful to be a psychiatrist, a hypnotist. Otherwise, facing two demonesses, each with their own unique charm every day, and later adding a captain whose beauty was breathtaking, he'd naturally be enchanted. He felt that this kind of training, even if he hadn't become a demigod yet, he could resist the charm of an enemy. Enemy demoness of despair for a longer time. The embarrassed Franca searched for a topic as she let out a ah and said that individuals' arrangements are terrifying. It is not something we can escape or choose not to accept. Anthony just tanking with willpower, truly the GOAT. He said, damn, she pretty though, but you know what's prettier? My self-respect. Whore. Both demonesses had been insignificant in the situations before. They had personally experienced the celestial changes that Red Angel Medici had created in the Fourth Epoch Trier, but the true creator's arrangements, which came without warning and left no trace, surpassed their wildest imagination. LEMMiNO responded in a low voice that he is a true god. I suspect he is even more than just a true god. At least Madame Magician's attitude towards him is more respectful and fearful than true gods like EBS. Yes, Kami, I do remember. The Terror Club, the Church of the Fool, and the others related forces combined may not be able to prevent his arrangements. At most, they could detect anomalies a bit earlier and give warnings. Although there are many angels around Mr. Fool's throne, there are not enough to face a true god. Damn. Why would a true god focus on someone who isn't even a demigod? Franca sighed. She originally wanted to add, with such a large gap in status, resistance is futile. We can only make do for now, not letting this matter weigh on our minds, and try to use his arrangements to strengthen ourselves. But considering her LEMMiNO's current state, she swallowed her thoughts. Perhaps we'll only stop worrying about arrangements when Mr. Fool wakes up. Oh, Mr. Fool! Your homies need you! Chop, chop, motherfucker! You brought Franca into this world? You gotta help her now. Get up. No, technically you didn't bring her to this world, but I mean you brought her to this world, so. Yeah, When will Mr. Fool wake up? Franca echoed. Suddenly she had an idea, and looked at Lumion. That lucky coin in Jenna's and Ludwig's possession all seems to come from Mr. Fool's past bestowal, carrying his aura. Could it be that gathering all the lucky coins may awaken him? Are you so stupid? If it were that simple, the major arcana holders would have already collected the lucky coins to awaken him, Lumion pondered and said. Perhaps gathering all the coins is just a prerequisite, and there are some other things to be done. I'm about to get a lucky coin too, Anthony interjected. The Knight of Swords promised it to me. 4 coins? Franca couldn't help but look at Lumion. In the past she definitely would have teased him, but seeing now where Lumion was, she couldn't bear to. Lumion didn't show any disappointment and looked out the window and said, Madam Magician should be coming to me soon. I'll ask her about the significance of the coins. Franca touched the traveler bag. I love how they're still so small-minded. They're like, maybe it's these lucky coins, not realizing what Klein is actually doing. Klein is fighting like a force of the universe, basically. And they're like, well, maybe if we put all the coins together and say Mr. Fool in the mirror 5 times, he'll wake up. Franca touched her traveler bag. By the way, I want to ask Madam Magician to create an independent space in my traveler bag to store that revolver. I can feel that it, like black tears, continuously creating diseases and spreading them. Her cannon gun had already combined with parts of the boon power from Higdon that were intercepted in the mirror world. After saying this, Franca asked Lumion to place the entire room into a bottle of fiction while she took out the corrupted cannon gun and used a magic mirror divination to grasp its effects and impacts. Before long, Franca gained an answer. The corrupted cannon gun will rapidly spread disease and decay within a 3-kilometer radius. That's crazy. The corrupted cannon gun will add either the certain death or sure hit effect to fired bullets, for a total of 13 times, which can be stacked with the original heavy strike effect. If either the certain death or sure hit effect is triggered, the user will inevitably fall seriously ill for a time. If a suitable healer isn't found, they may even die. If found, the severe illness should last from a few hours to a day. That sucks! Imagine using a sure hit bullet and someone uses a fucking, what do you call it, like a mirror substitution for it, and now you're sick for a day and you're like, what did I do all this for? You fucked. After the certain effect and sure hit uses are exhausted, the negative effects of spreading disease and decay will still exist for about a year. As soon as she got her answer, Franca stuffed the cannon gun back into her traveler bag and tried to liven up the atmosphere and said, if I were to use the impregnating bullet with a sure hit effect, how does the enemy deal with that? Is Klein soloing almost a third of the OC? Would it be a third? Because those are just the pillars. The 3 are just the pillars, right? The others are not. Do the other ones not count? Regarding Franca's question, Jenna and Anthony were amused but didn't know how to respond. Are personalities of the OC too? Even M-God is in a Kriya. Oh, sorry. Celestial Worthy and unlike the other ones. Regarding Franca's question, Jenna and Anthony were amused but didn't know how to answer. That second message might be spoilers. It's all good. It's all good. Lumion, however, seriously discussed the possible consequences. Is pregnancy a big problem for Beyonders? It's not something they want. They can lose it immediately through an intense combat. Seeing that Lumion was about to discuss it, Franca chuckled. It's not quite that simple. After getting hit with the bullet, I seriously researched related issues and consulted Madam Magician. I've confirmed that these bullets originate from the Great Mother's boon. Even demigods can't escape it. Once pregnant, it's very difficult to terminate those special effects. And we all know that the one way for Beyonders to eliminate excess characteristics is to have others or themselves become pregnant. using a child's birth to take away the corresponding characteristics, though the result is uncontrollable, for low sequence is true. In other words, the target hit by this bullet, regardless of whether they're male or female, human or dog, will become pregnant. The fetus will grow rapidly, tearing away a part of your characteristic or boon power, causing instability and a decline in strength. This, combined with the sure hit effect, is a bit terrifying, Jenna spoke. One can only stay vigilant and preemptively replace themselves with a substitute. If you don't want to be a demoness, we can ask Mr. Sun through the Tarot Club, or I can give you a shot of the impregnating bullet to see if there's a way to give birth to the demoness of despair, Franca thought about saying, but gave up on that joke. Moreover, she felt that LEMMiNO would likely insist on being a demoness for a while to see if there truly were signs of Aurora's soul fragments returning. I have decided the cannon gun will now be renamed the Inevitable Gun. You will inevitably become pregnant, haha. Franca said, after careful consideration and abandoning it, and said Execution Gun, which she liked more. She then asked Lumion, what abilities does your bracelet have, by the way? I'll tell you about the magic mirror divination targets that have been verified as safe. Including the ones you mentioned that cause social death but give the most accurate answer, Jenna asked. Yes, but you'd better not pray to that one, otherwise... Well, I am the experience and the lesson itself. As she spoke, Franca couldn't help but look at Anthony, finding that this hypnotist showed no change in expression. With Franca's guidance, Lumion completed his first magic mirror divination, gaining key insight about the bracelet. Can use the circle inhabitant effect 9 times, each circle inhabitant lasting no fewer than 3 times and no more than 9. Circle inhabitant can be used within a 1 kilometer radius or a targeted single individual, or applied to oneself. The range type circle inhabitant trigger conditions cannot be harsh and can affect angels in the corresponding area. The individual type circle inhabitant can set relatively harsh conditions, but if the target's status is higher than one zone, the effects will be reduced. There are no restrictions on the circle inhabitant on oneself. It can be restarted even if killed by an angel. Only one circle can be maintained at a time, and the type of circle needs to cool down for 3 minutes before it can be created again. The circle inhabitant effect can last for a long time unless the number of deaths is reached or the user actively removes it. For example, if a circle is attached to oneself and restart to near death, there is no chance to trigger it afterwards. It can last up to a year at most. Whether or not the circle inhabitant's uses are exhausted, the bracelet contaminated by inevitability will enhance the abilities of a Fate Appropriator, Fate Exchange and Magnified Fate, and Compelling Fate to the level of a circle inhabitant. After about a year, the corresponding boon power will dissipate, turning the silver bracelet to an ordinary accessory. Even just carrying this bracelet will unknowingly attract inevitability boon recipients and will be viewed with hostility. Each use of the circle inhabitant will result in a period of bad luck. The specifics are varying based on the user's status. If it's me, the bad luck would probably last about 3 hours. For you all, it might be 2 days. For Anthony, maybe 3. It probably does suit you best, Franca said. Along with the Sword of Courage, you are equivalent to a demigod of the Hunter pathway, Demoness pathway, and the Inevitability pathway. That is true. He has a sequence 1 characteristic, or he has a grade 1 artifact of the Hunter path, and he's a grade 1 artifact of the Inevitability boon. And is a demigod of the Demoness pathway. That is fucked. But I will say, this ability, compared to what Klein had at this level, he still feels weaker. Am I crazy? I don't know. Klein's power at this point felt like oppressively strong. I don't know. Maybe it was because Marionettist was like a dummy strong sequence 5, and from there it just Bizarro Sorcerer was even crazier still. But like, I don't know, I feel like when Klein became a Bizarro Sorcerer, I was like, holy shit, this guy's crazy. And this is like, she's a demoness, I guess. Strong. At sequence 4, this could be considered outstanding. What should we name it? Lumion asked. Circle of Fate? Circle of Binding? Let us call it the Circle of Binding. It is more fitting for my current state, Lumion said. Before Franca could express her disappointment, he put away the circle of binding and said, "The topic of impregnating bullets reminded me of something." "What?" Franca asked. "When I first learned that the name of the Great Mother's invisible child was Bella, the tremor burst inside me was a bit surprised. I thought it was because this evil god angel hadn't heard this name in the endless cosmos, but didn't expect Bella to enter our world and become a child of God. But the situation now is that tremor burst inside me was Amon. In other words, this truly had nothing to do with any knowledge or legends from the endless cosmos. Currently, there are only two possibilities. One is that Amon is deceiving me, preparing for when I investigate this matter in the future. The second is that he truly didn't expect it, and what he didn't expect was the name of Bella, the giant queen, the goddess of harvest, would appear on the Great Mother's invisible child of God. Does Amon not expecting it, does that also mean Adam didn't expect it?" Jenna understood. Lumion smiled. "My encounter with Father Monty it was definitely his arrangement to grasp the situation of the Great Mother's invisible child. But the name of the Great Mother's child may not have been part of the arrangement. It was an accident, something he didn't expect." "You want to start from this incident to find a path with fewer arrangements?" Anthony understood. Lumion started laughing. His former identity was the ancient sun god, who ended the era of the ancient gods. There are very few ancient secrets not grasped by him, but this may be amongst them. Hearing this, Franca remembered that the true creator worshipped by the Aurora Order was formerly the ancient sun god, the savior of humanity. And according to the intelligence gathered by the Research Society, the ancient sun god was also likely a transmigrator. Damn it. How could a transmigrator do such things as arranging an innocent person's life? After cursing inwardly, Franca said to Lumion, "Do you not meet all the conditions to come into contact with Bella's remains and use them?" After Lumion consumed Bella's umbilical cord and achieved a slight fusion, he only needed to meet two more conditions: having experienced betrayal by a direct relative and being female. Being female! I forgot about that one! Oh, true. Lumion had been abandoned by his father and had long met the first condition, and now he was truly a female. Lumion smiled. A part of his plan, truly. Adam is genuinely goated as fuck, though. Imagine, in 2 more volumes, Amon comes back, continues reading from where he left off. After becoming a demoness, Lumion will expect that he has a way to forego our plans. Not understanding this is all with a reasonable development, he will now go to see Bella's remains in the City of Silver. Moreover, Bella's remains are in the new City of Silver. In this very city, Lumion said. I wonder what secrets I can discover from their records and direct contact with the remains. Before Jenna and the others could even respond, points of starlight appeared and Madame Magician appeared in the room. This major arcana holder seemed to already have foreseen the difficulty Franca was facing and extended her hand and said, "Give me your traveler bag." It was early spring, and in the fields outside the new City of Silver, patches of wheat seedlings were lush green in the twilight. Madame Magician walked with Lumion on the path, breathing in the scent of soil and plants. Having already obtained most of the information from the spirit world, she patiently waited for Lumion to finish recounting his experiences. We've always said to be careful of his arrangements, to pay attention to coincidences, but what we didn't expect was that the arrangement happened from the very beginning, and gave many seemingly reasonable explanations to the extent that we could only see traces of the arrangements, completely overlooking the whole problem. Lumion was still wearing the black cloak given by Franca, and his hair hidden in the hood. He didn't blame her. For her thoughts. After all, that being was a true god. He's way above that level. Looking at the patches of the green wheat, he asked, "Is it only when Mr. Fool awakens that we needn't worry about every details of our lives being arranged?" "Yes, or becoming an angel. Though that won't exactly exempt you either, but you'll be able to detect many arrangements." Lumion fell silent and said, "Are those lucky coins devices to awaken Mr. Fool?" "Yes," Madame Magician didn't deny it. "You should have one too." What is she talking about? Lumion turned his head and using his eyes to the question. Magician smiled and said, "That is the reward for this water from the Samaritaine women's spring in the soil. in front of the ancient tomb of the Dream Festival. I guess maybe she doesn't... I guess we forget that from Lumin's perspective, these guys seem so powerful and all-knowing, but we understand how little they actually know. However, this needs to wait a few more days. There are time intervals for using these items. Lumin roughly understood the meaning of her words. The water had previously taken from the Cimmerian women springing the soil from the area around the Dream Festival did have a reward, which was another lucky coin. But the one giving the reward needed to wait until all the water and soil had been used up and the effects confirmed before actually paying. Using these items needed to be done in batches, in time intervals, rather than consuming them all at once. I don't know, man. All the great old ones got fucking rolled by Adam. I don't think it's the Tarot Club that's the issue. All the great old ones got rolled by Adam? Are you referring to the Vortex? Or are you referring to the like the ancient gods? Like, oh, the Vortex? Yeah, I guess. Didn't notice it was Adam's play. Adam do be him though, I'm not gonna lie. We still need to wait a few more days. Lumin cast his glance at the golden tinted horizon and said, I understand. He wasn't impatient, having been arranged for so long already. What did a few days matter? How many coins are needed to awaken Mr. Fool? The coins are tools, not the awakening itself. There are only 5 such coins. Once you get the last coin, the 5 of you will be able to use your coins to enter Mr. Fool's dreams and attempt to awaken him. Understand? The coins are mediums to help you participate in the Fool's dream. Of course, given your sequence, even with the coins, you can't decide when you can enter that dream or what you can do. We'll need to assist you to ensure you can all go in together and maintain sufficient clarity. Mr. Fool's dream? We are responsible for awakening Mr. Fool? Yes, Magician answered. What do we need to do? Haven't the previous holders entered the dream as well? Have they not made attempts? What do they want us to do? I don't know what needs to be done either. That's for you to figure out. We'll give you some suggestions based on your feedback. The previous holders did indeed enter the dream and made quite a few attempts, but they were successfully discovered by the celestial worthy spirit, either kicked out of the dream or had their actions restricted, unable to do very much. One of them, after being kicked out, would have been kicked out again within a minute of re-entering, regardless of whether they disguise themselves or not. You also need to be careful. The early stages are fine, but if you're discovered later and locked onto by the celestial worthy, you'll also be kicked out, or become mute or blind or foolish. Are we the destined ones to awake Mr. Fool? Perhaps, perhaps not. We can only say that the previous holders of the lucky coins would suddenly feel at some moments or in some scenarios that they should trade away the coin to someone else. Perhaps a hint from fate. Lumin didn't ask any more questions, instead asked, Can I apply to the new city of Silver now? I will help you inform Mr. Sun. Just be prepared. Of course, you won't actually be able to take away Ami Bella's remains. That belongs to them. The Grade 0 artifact are extremely precious. No one will gift it to you. What you'll be allowed to do is review the relevant records and come into contact with it and study the item. If you encounter difficulties with the approval of the City of Silver's 6-member council, you may be able to borrow the artifact for a short time, to be returned very quickly though. That's amazing, Lumin said. According to 007, even a Grade 1 sealed artifact had to submit a report in advance to be used, obtaining approval and meeting conditions. As for Grade 0 artifact, he couldn't even dream of it. And now the new City of Silver may actually let him borrow it for a time. Lumin habitually smoothed his hair and told Madam Magician of Trimiboris that is Amon's true form when he learned of that name. And Amon's reaction when he first learned of the Great Mother's invisible child was Ami Bella. That may hide a very big important secret with some connection to that bird deep in this underworld and the missing Madame Polly. Lumin stopped in front of a pond she used for water storage and asked, Madam, what is the true final purpose of Project Vortex? Magician recounted in detail all the transactions and developments she understood, but because Lumin no longer had a false angel status and had lost Mr. Fool's seal, unable to bear certain knowledge. She used descriptions like the evil gods that sat at the barriers, the ones worshipped by the great mothers, or the ones worshipped by the brokers, and the great mother to refer to those existences. Upon hearing Roselle had been resurrected and then chose to die again to damage the great existence, preaching in the name of truth, LEMMiNO's expression changed several times, but he didn't say anything. I understand how you feel, Magician comforted. I don't like him. I dislike his methods, but I must admit, he is indeed preparing our world to face the apocalypse, and not just doing things that would benefit him under the guise of a banner. So I am torn. LEMMiNO's expression turned rather cold, maintaining his silence. Magician didn't continue discussing this matter. She raised her hand, letting points of starlight appear and fall on LEMMiNO's chest, forming an illusory symbol. Since there is no need to seal an angel, my power alone is enough to protect Aurora and the other soul fragments. We needn't trouble Mr. Fool again. Besides, if you were to seal it, it may actually affect the gradual revival of Aurora. Well, if you're unwilling to take the lucky coin for into Mr. Fool's dream, we won't force you. It'll still help reinforce the seal periodically. That individual has already made that choice for me. LEMMiNO smiled bitterly. Can being in the demoness state really allow Aurora's soul fragment to gradually revive? Is this truly the only way? It may, or it may not be. I cannot give you an accurate answer. Only Mr. Fool could provide the corresponding answer. Madam Magician neither denied nor confirmed. But this is indeed a way to resurrect Aurora, just that the final resurrection won't be whole. Why must it be Aurora's soul fragments gradually reviving, not the soul of the other villagers? There's so many soul fragments within me. Why is Aurora so special? LEMMiNO asked. Aurora's fragments simultaneously meet three conditions. First, she was a Beyonder, having undergone the transformation of Beyonder characteristics on her spirit. Second, was corrupted by inevitability. And third, at the end of the ritual, her soul fragments received protection from that individual, or several ones. So they're in better conditions, the kind that may be able to revive. Therefore, her fragments are indeed the most special amongst the fragments within you. The remaining fragments may only be able to exist in the form of a half-human, half-object puppet when you become an angel. If I were now a Beyonder of those three pathways of the Great Mother, I wouldn't doubt that Aurora's soul fragments could revive, but a demoness doesn't have the symbol of a new life. The MC is the demoness, Bullseye. But the demoness has a bizarre authority of resurrection. Have you forgotten that one of the descriptions of the demoness of unaging is that she is bizarrely difficult to kill, skilled in resurrection and rebirth? If I continue to advance to a demoness of unaging, would the revival effects be better? There is no need to pursue that. When you later jump to sequence 2 of the demoness pathway, you'll gain all the abilities and characteristics of the demoness of unaging, unless you find a way to separate out the corresponding characteristic yourself. As a demigod who has switched pathways, you should have some special mixed abilities now, right? The most special is the application of fire. On one hand, I can use a hunter's blazing white flames and a demoness's inherent black flame separately, and on the other I can fuse them together for an explosive effect that can both physically destroy bodies and objects and ignite spirituality, spirit bodies. Yes, after the fusion of the demoness of despair characteristic and the hunter characteristic, new knowledge appeared, calling this black flame that suppresses irritability and madness the fire of destruction. And this is one of the most OP abilities? Really? By the way, I saw somewhere Dara's finishing Lord of the Mysteries, eh? She's 3 streams away, is that right? From finishing? Who do you think can win the World Cup and why is it Mexico? It's not Mexico. It's never Mexico, to be clear. Who can win? Argentina's got a good chance. They have Messi. France has a good chance. They have the dictator, of course. For any of those, so good luck to the new guy making music for the last volume. No, never mind. I don't care. never mind. My goat always shows up for me, okay? Fuck him. After describing the fire of destruction, Lumin frowned and said, I have heard that members of the Demoness sect have a tradition of turning their lovers into females. Are there no Beyonders of the Hunter pathway amongst their lovers? This question was still essentially asking, why me? I'm gonna press pray. Surely they can do that without me. I wouldn't take that bet, but okay. Listen, you've done this before, Kami. You know this, right? When you send title, when you send music and like, hey, switch it here, to me, how often does it actually get switched on time? How often? Genuinely. I see. Couldn't they just find a sequence 5 of the Hunter pathway, seduce them to jump to a Demoness of Despair and satisfy their requirement of yin meets yang? Why did it need to be arranged? Perhaps only you could very easily enter the area around the Women's Spring and obtain the remnant ore of Alista Tudor, thus having a similarity to 001. Medici has a way to control 001 without relying on mystical similarity. Why, since that individual has no selfish motives and isn't afraid of Medici's revenge, why not reinvest in him instead of grooming a weakling? What a waste of time. I can answer that one. First, Medici can't get as close to the top powers of the two Calamity pathways as you can unless his next step isn't to reclaim 001 and become Red Priest, but to find a way to replace the primordial Demoness. Second, the birth of a Red Priest is inevitably accompanied by competition, chaos, and disaster. Only through multi-party competition can a Red Priest emerge in the shortest time possible. If the Red Angel were to walk this path, it wouldn't go so smoothly. Am I competing with him? Lumin smiled. Then I should thank him for giving me this qualification. As for ability, that was still far away. Magician continued, many members of the Demoness sect have indeed had lovers of the Hunter path, but they rarely let these lovers switch pathways. On the one hand, there are very few members of the Demoness sect who can get their hands on two Demoness of Despair characteristics, and on the other, they seem to be avoiding similar things. As far as I know, amongst the demigod-level Demonesses, only one was formerly a Hunter. Who? The Demoness of Cyan, Yelena. She is a Sequence 3 Demoness of Unaging. Her mother is the leader of the Demoness sect, the Demoness of Grey, Judith. Judith. Her father was a... Judith. I'm gonna go with Judith. Her father was a hunter who later went missing, suspected to have been killed by the Demoness of Grey. Could the Demoness of Grey have also been a hunter, Lumin thought? Her twin sister Crismona was born a female, born a demoness. As a contrast, is it possible that she was born a male and transitioned? The Demoness of Black only mentioned that the Demoness of Black was Sequence 9 at birth, but never mentioned that her Sequence 9 equaled Assassin. It is possible, but unverifiable currently. The Demoness of Grey is older than all of our major arcana holders combined. We don't know much of her. Magician smiled. Is that so? I thought you were an angel from the early 5th epoch, given your teacher was Mr. Dor, the strongest angel of the 4th epoch. But Lumin didn't voice his thoughts about the woman's age. New lore whiz? What? About the Demoness of Grey? Have leftovers? True. He began to walk slowly and pondered. Is the Demoness sect, or rather the primordial Demoness's hatred for the pure and female Demonesses really due to inner distortion? Or is there an other mystical reason? Pure female Demonesses should apparently wouldn't have the chance to touch the power at the top of the two Calamity pathways, so they should pose the least threat to the primordial Demoness. Because I don't want to step outside for the next... What the f*** are you doing that you're so busy for the next 7 days, but you literally can't leave the house? What is happening? Good. Pure female demonesses apparently wouldn't have the chance to touch the power at the top of the two calamity pathways, so they should pose the least threat to the primordial. Inner distortion is one reason, but my intuition tells me that's not the whole. The Seven of Cups is about to advance to a demoness of affliction. You can try to get some intel on this from Crismona's remnant projection. I'm not going out because of heat mainly. Oh, gonna rush a game with friends? I see, okay. Lumen didn't continue this topic, instead returning to discuss the changes in his abilities after becoming a demoness of despair. This was also something he had to do after his condition stabilized. At the demoness of despair stage, disease has evolved into a plague that can cover a range of 3 kilometers. I currently have mastered the 3 types of plagues. One derived from the original disease, targeting the flesh of relatively common creatures, mainly infecting organs such as the heart, brain, and lungs. From the incubation period to the outbreak and to becoming severe, it only takes about 10 seconds, and then about another minute it can cause the target to deteriorate to near death. The second type of plague is weakening, originating from the mystical pathogen inherent in black tear. It can gradually strip away the target's strength until even their heart is too weak to beat, at the same time causing a gradual loss of spirituality. In other words, it not only causes relatively common creatures, or targets relatively common creatures, but also affects special creatures. Any target with spirituality or relying on spirituality will weaken. The third type of plague is rigidity. Over time, it causes even zombies to become rigid and stiff and inflexible. The fusion of hunter traits with the plagues that has given these mystical pathogens certain resistance to fire. They won't quickly wither away under the burning conditions and can persist for a long time. Amongst them, the weakening plagues can inherently survive in the high temperatures for a long time. Hi, Harsh. Its current fire resistance is the strongest amongst the 3 plagues. For dealing with these plagues, the burning of demonesses, black flames, and freezing over a certain range are better methods. I can also create my own unique plague varieties by combining my own traits, corresponding with mystical knowledge, specific ideas, and experiments, and possibly required certain special materials. This takes a long time and cannot yield results quickly, but regardless, a demoness's plague can only target things with spirituality and cannot cause rocks or metals to wither, rust, or decay like the demigods of the Order of All Extinction. In using precision, a hunter's precision can help me maintaining 2 types of plagues simultaneously, but requires 3 or 4 times the spirituality consumption. The Demoness of Despair's mastery over the mirror world and mirror magic has reached a considerably deep stage. I can locate mirrors within a 5-kilometer radius in mirrors I've visited before, traverse freely in the mirror world, and transmit information through the mirror world to located mirrors, displaying it. This is much more convenient than messengers, but there's a possibility of the information being intercepted by mirror world creatures. I can also use located mirrors to project myself there, looking just like the real thing. But this projection has a distance limitation and cannot exceed a city. Hunter's precision has also fused with the mirror projection ability, allowing me to complete 3 to 5 projections simultaneously, with each projection having some power and able to accomplish certain things. Though they cannot leave the range reflected by the corresponding mirror. When fighting against the Order of All Extinction demigod Higdon, Lumen had used these powers of the special mirror world to create many projections. If Higdon had ignored them, these projections and illusions could have caused a certain degree of damage. Oh, good lord, there's so much. Jesus. Other mirror magic, such as mirror maze, mirror substitution, and magic mirror divination, have also reached the level of a sequence 4. Amongst them, curses completed through mirrors, including normal types, those fused with cull, can erupt fiercely and in an extremely short amount of time, and those mixed with the power of inevitability have completed fate-related curses. Lumen pondered as he spoke. Fate-related curses can put the target in a state of misfortune for a time. Not easily noticed by them, can be used against enemies who inherently have a strong curse prevention ability. When are planning next Outer Wild stream? Maybe tonight or tomorrow night? Depends. If I'm not doing anything tonight, maybe tonight. If I'm not doing anything tomorrow night, maybe tomorrow night. Just depends. No, actually, I'm probably doing something tomorrow night, so probably closer to me. My hair is the... hold on. Like the other demonesses of despair, if enemies can't replace themselves with a substitution before I lock onto them and complete the curse, they won't be able to transfer or share the damage, even if they have a mirror substitution or paper figurine substitute. Sid, what? Chris already answered your question. What? The demoness's spider silk has also changed, becoming more solid, more tough, and able to complete more tasks, including restraining, binding, interfering, transmitting pleasure, black flames, and curses, and at the same time, the fusion of hunter traits has made these spider silk sharp, able to directly cause a certain degree of damage. My hair is the source of spider silk. If an enemy's body is touched by my hair, the corresponding part will experience some petrification. Weakness investigation is no longer limited to discovering weaknesses and vulnerabilities in the flesh, soul, and defenses, as well as fate streams that can lead to death, but also can target the target's emotional and desire weakness. Hold on. Cull has fused with the Demoness Pathway's mighty blow, capable of bringing more terrifying damage. I can take out some physical fragile demigods in one strike. It seems fame has changed you. Okay, Sid. Alright. Anything else, low bro? Oh my god. Capable of... hold on. Physically fragile demigods may have many mystically oriented life-saving abilities, making it impossible for you to find their true form, Madam Magician reminded. Other abilities include black magic like invisibility, the ability to manipulate frost, wand substitution, basic divination abilities, which are all the same as a normal demoness of despair. Instigation or provocation are fused together, granting me the ability to use language and mystical powers to stir up the target's emotions and desires. Pleasure can be combined with cull and precision. That's about it. Madam Magician nodded. Jumping to a neighboring pathway indeed brings some strange and mixed abilities, not something that can be achieved by using the neighboring pathway's artifacts. Should we have Franca continue undercover in the Demoness sect? Lumia nodded. I don't think it really matters where I stopped today, right? We're kind of just laughing, so we'll just kind of keep going until, like, I don't know. We'll keep going for a bit, right? I'm thinking like 895 or something, but we'll play it by ear, really. Sorry, we just did so much reading yesterday, I'm just a little... Faced with Lumen's question. Yeah, and how's it going, man? So thoughts so far on the new abilities and how they stack up? I mean, it's fine. I do think he's significantly weaker than Lumion was at this, than Klein was at this point, even though he has so many more, like, mixes and boons and shit, but I would still think Klein would beat his ass. You can skip and you'll be okay. I agree, Sid. You know what? Let's just say we finished COI. Alright, guys, what do you think? We say we finished COI now? Fuck it, let's just start reading Reverend Insanity. Fuck him. Lumen is currently in which sequence? Klein was definitely weaker as a sequence 4. I don't know. Faced with Lumien's question, Madam Magician pondered for a few seconds whether it's investigating the state of the primordial and exploring the secrets of the deepest layer of the magic special mirror world, uncovering the essence of the mirror self, or mastering the secrets of resurrection and rebirth of the demoness of unaging. It is impossible to bypass the demoness sect. They are all equally important. So my opinion is to let the Two of Cups continue while you lurk in the shadows. The demoness sect has already probably suspected that her background and intentions, but I'm not sure what countermeasures they will take. If they want to use the Two of Cups to do something and achieve their goals, we can take advantage of such arrangements to peek into the secrets of the sect and special mirror world, and incidentally obtain subsequent resources for the demoness pathway. If they prepare to eliminate the hidden dangers and wipe out the Two of Cups and you lurking in the shadows, act quickly and rescue the Two of Cups. The mission then ends there. This is already a fairly high-risk task. Both of you have a right to refuse. I think the demoness sect won't do anything to Franca for the time being. More likely that they'll use her. Otherwise, in the underworld mausoleum of Marora, Julie in her divine descent state wouldn't have thrown me out of the special mirror world. After I achieved my goal, obtained the black tier, and returned from Marora, the demoness of black wouldn't have been so easily patronized by Franca. Klein had very little damage at sequence 4. He could just make you a sorcerer, though. He could just make you a marionette, though, rather, sorry. Klein hard carried by Cipher Castle. He's an average. To call Klein Moretti an average Beyonder is the wildest take in the universe. Even without Cipher Castle is crazy. If this isn't that individual's arrangement, it means that the primordial... It did it. Oh no, my mic's fine. Okay. If this isn't that individual's arrangements, it means that the primordial also hopes for a Beyonder who harbors hope for Tutor's resurrection and is closer to the top powers of the Calamity pathway than her to grow up according to her method. Currently considered closest to the correct answer, in order to achieve a goal that is important and crucial to her. Lumine twisted his mouth and said, one of the ways to counter True God's arrangements is to place oneself in the plan of another or several True Gods. The principle is the same as balancing corruption, I suppose. Madam Magician shook her head. But you should remember that before Mr. Fool awakens, no True God can compete with him in arrangements, even if several True Gods unite. Of course, this can indeed interfere with him and influence with his arrangements, giving you a chance to detect anomalies. Whether Franca continues her mission or not, I will follow up on these matters. Madam, can you give me more intel on the Demoness sect? The Demoness of Black only reveals very little. You now indeed have the ability and mindset to independently handle one aspect of the matter. If Mr. Fool wakes up, you are completely qualified to draw a Major Arcana card. From now on, matters concerning the Demoness sect can be consolidated under you. If you need assistance or want to mobilize resources from the Major Arcana holders, find me or Judgment at any time. She's saying like you are de facto Major Arcana holder, we just don't have the ability to make you a Major holder. That's a client, that's a Mr. Fool thing. But in essence, you are one, so I assume that's the same thing with Sharon then, because she's also a demigod, right? So it makes sense for her to be like also a de facto Major Arcana holder. Well, because the Demoness of Unaging can be resurrected and reborn, it is difficult to kill her, and so stays forever young and without aging. She can live for many, many years, even longer than the lifespan of angels of other paths. So if we don't count Sequence 4, Demoness of Despair, and only consider the accumulated number of current Sequence 3s and 2s, the Demoness sect has more than any Orthodox God Church. What? In this regard, only Sanguine, whose lives are equally long, can compare with them, but still fall short. Fuck that. They got more Sequence 3s and 2s than any church? Is also crazy. What? Of course, a large part of the high-level power of the Orthodox churches is its grade 0 and 1 artifacts. If encountering major disasters, those artifacts and holy artifacts can play a significant role. and a large number of them can be relatively smoothly converted into characteristics to rapidly strengthen reserve forces. LEMMiNO recalled and said, according to the demoness of black, at sequence 3, one can name oneself with a color. There are 13 color demonesses. Amongst them, 4 are angels, sequence 2. In this aspect, the demoness sect is inferior to Orthodox churches, because their high-level members must be demonesses, and there are no angels from other paths. Churches, on the other hand, can potentially use grade 0 artifacts or grade 1 artifacts of other pathways to create sequence 1 archangels, Madam Magician explained. Why can't there be a sequence 1 demoness? What I am about to say is one of the highest knowledge of the paths of the divine. Each pathway has its own uniqueness. Occupying and accommodating the uniqueness is the key to becoming a true god, but not the only condition. A true sequence 0 needs all sequence 1 characteristics of its path to support the uniqueness, which is 3 total. So with the sequence 0 primordial demoness, there can't be a sequence 1 demoness of apocalypse, only a sequence 2 demoness of catastrophe. Similarly, Orthodox God churches can have sequence 1 archangels corresponding to their own deities. Well, except for some pathways with special abilities. As Lumen suddenly came to realize, he keenly asked, I can't advance to a sequence 1 of the demoness pathway and become a demoness of apocalypse unless the primordial falls? Yes. There's only one sequence 1 characteristic left for the hunter path. Medici already has 2, which is why he is a king of angels again. Ayane, are you fucking with me? I can't tell. Dude, is Ayane just testing me to see if I remember shit? I can't tell if he's just genuinely rage baiting me. You know what? Fuck it. They're transmigrators. There you go. No longer any concern. Is the definition of a king of angels occupying multiple sequence 1 characteristics or accommodating the uniqueness? Yes, whether it's occupying 2 sequence 1 characteristics or 3 characteristics or accommodating the uniqueness, as well as the uniqueness plus 1 characteristic, a uniqueness plus 2 characteristics, they are all kings of angels. The only king of angels composed of the uniqueness plus 3 sequence 1 characteristic was my mentor, Mr. Door, but he used his own sealing authority to resist the tendency to converge. If not for this, after the characteristics and uniqueness are placed in the same body, they would inevitably converge, and the possessor would become a god, lose control on the spot, or die. No wonder Mr. Door was the highest ranking nobleman. Where's the last sequence 1 characteristic of the hunter path? It is rumored to be with the demoness. Magician didn't conceal this intel, and the one who brought that characteristic to the primordial was the demoness of black, Clarice. Wiki for 2 or 3 hours a day? Alright, man, all you. Listen, as long as you're enjoying, do enjoy it however you like, okay? If you like to enjoy reading the wiki, read the wiki. Have fun. Who are we to sit here and tell you that our way is the right way to enjoy it? Beside the demoness of Grey Judith, the demoness sect has 3 other sequence 2 demonesses of catastrophe, named the demoness of yellow, the demoness of blue, and the demoness of purple. There are currently 9 sequence 3 demonesses, corresponding with the colors that you know: cyan, white, scarlet, silver, green, gold, brown, and orange. Change music yourself if you want. Bro, is this like... This is Naruto music, right? I'm not crazy? No, it's Witcher 3, never mind. Wait. They sound so... There's a Witcher 3 tracks that goes relatively similarly too, but this might be Naruto. I can't tell. Lore heavy on the demoness site? Yeah. I don't know. Can someone tell Cuttlefish I actually don't give a flying fuck about this? Can you bring Klein back? That's all I'm asking. After hearing this, Lumen noticed a problem. Trier, with its own special mirror world, should be one of the most important areas in the Demoness sect, yet they didn't send a Demoness of Catastrophe to be in charge, leaving all affairs to the Demoness of Black? Or is yellow, blue, purple hiding in Trier? Moreover, the one responsible for keeping the Sequence 1 characteristic of the Hunter pathway and using methods like sacrifice to give it to the Demoness was also only a Sequence 3 Demoness of Black, not any Demoness of Catastrophe. Weren't they worried that the Demoness of Black status wasn't enough? Her strength wasn't enough, or something may go wrong? Madam Magician reminded Lumion. After exchanging intel, Madam Magician looked at the sky that had darkened and said, "Tomorrow, Mr. Sun will send someone to take you to the Twin Towers and read the records that they have on Amibal's remains and make contact with the artifact." Book 1, it's kind of plot important now? True. Or is it overrated? I already have other sweeteners. Vanilla extract is very good. Truly. After that, you decide for yourself when to return to Trier. "Yes, Madam Magician," Lumen replied. As the night settled in, Franca paced in the living room, muttering, "Why hasn't he come back yet? Wasn't he just reporting his encounter to Madam Magician? It's been so long." Jenna was also a bit worried as she walked to the window. Suddenly her gaze froze. "There!" she said. Franca took a few steps forward and saw at the top of the bell tower, in a place without railings, sat a woman in a black cloak. It was Lumion, sitting there, legs dangling, looking down. They exchanged glances quickly and rushed to the cathedral, climbing the bell tower. Seeing Lumion's back, they didn't inquire about the situation, and each walked to one side and watched what he was looking at. The giant building that had lit up with lights in the night, the various mushrooms that were faintly visible, the silhouettes of giants and half-giants behind windows, the faint sounds of laughter and joy coming from the different houses. Twin Towers? What's the date today, Aaron, you asked? 9/11, of course. I'm not going to read for a couple hours, Annie. I'm probably going to read for like another hour or so. About. Lumion and the others had just finished breakfast in their room and were waiting for Ludwig to clean up the rest when they heard the doorbell ring. Outside the door was a half-giant youth about 2 meters tall, slightly curly hair that looked fluffy. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. After his gaze swept over Lumion, Franca, and Jenna, he lowered his eyes to look at his own toes and said, "I'm here to find Lumion Lee. Possibly Miss Lumina Lee?" "That's me," Lumion understood that he was probably just a messenger. That major arcana holder of Mr. Sun seemed to have deliberately found a youth to ensure the height difference would be so dramatic. The youth sighed and said, "I've been ordered by the 6-member council to take you to see Elder Derek Berg at the Twin Towers." "Alright," Lumion nodded and followed the youth. Along the way, the youth walked slightly ahead to the side, his back stiff, occasionally showing a tendency to swing the same arm and leg together, as if he had somehow forgotten to walk. He would turn his head to glance at Lumion occasionally, not knowing what to say. Yeah, it's a fucking child, and he's staring at a Sequence 4 demoness. He's like fucking shocked by her beauty. He's like, It's like it would be like if you're 9 years old and you run into like Megan Fox and you're like, I don't know how to fucking talk or walk or anything, bro. Oh my god. Halfway through the journey, he's finally had a thought of a suitable topic. Half turned his body and asked LEMMiNO, Aren't you worried that I may be a bad person? Maybe what I said about the council's order and going to see the elder is all a lie. I could kill 30 if you're kind with a breath, LEMMiNO thought, without saying. On the one hand, they were both followers of Mr. Fool and not too familiar, so there was no need to mock, and on the other, LEMMiNO felt that if it was his sister, she definitely wouldn't answer in a similar way. I'm not worried, he smiled, because this is the City of Silver. The youth became happy. Yes, the Lord has always taught us to be kind and restrained. We strictly crack down on all kinds of crimes, especially guarding against theft and fraud and other such behavior. 12:12. Yes, the Lord has always taught us... Alright, never mind. The half-giant opened up and began talking endlessly about how Mr. Fool sent an angel to save the City of Silver, and how he gave the City of Silver this promised land, and how they built the new City of Silver. LEMMiNO had heard these stories repeatedly when drinking in the City of Silver before, but he wasn't impatient, letting the youth continue. He heard happiness of tranquility and happiness of peace and tranquility in the other's description. In this exchange, the two arrived at the Twin Towers, the core building at the new City of Silver. The left tower had a pointed top and housed a public facility like a library, while the other had a rounded top where the council sat. LEMMiNO instinctively turned his gaze towards the round tower and noticed the cracks between the bricks near the ground, tufts of black hair like plants growing out. When he came last, LEMMiNO had also noticed these plants but didn't pay much attention, but now he felt some kind of blood connection. They're part of the life of Amibella. Even when sealed, grade 0 artifacts have some influence in the outside world, LEMMiNO thought. They walked on the large stone black tabs, passing pillars as they came to a library. In front of the intimidating bookshelf stood a tall man wearing a simple white robe, over 2 meters tall. Neatly combed yellowish-brown hair, he only looked 22 or 23 with a calm, overwhelming aura. Clearly, Mr. Sun. Elder Berg, Miss LEMMiNO is here. Mr. Sun, whose name was Derek Berg, looked at LEMMiNO and nodded. Follow me. Thank you, LEMMiNO replied. The half-giant youth waved and walked to the door and called back to LEMMiNO and said, My name is Rugest. Rugest? After saying this, he turned and walked down the stairs. LEMMiNO followed Mr. Sun deep into the library, entering the innermost secret room where stacks of documents were scattered. These are all the records regarding the gift of the land. I have translated them into ancient Faceac for you, Mr. Sun said. LEMMiNO nodded, and understood this was to guard against any accidents that may occur while reading. So he nodded, sat at the table and picked up the stack of paper. That boy will never be the same. He read very slowly, taking nearly half an hour to roughly understand the relationship between the goddess of harvest and the City of Silver. In the second epoch, in the era of the ancient gods, the City of Silver belonged to the Giant King's court, and all its people were slaves to the giants. But unlike the other human vassals, powers of the Giant King's court, the City of Silver's situation was better, because they believed in and followed the subsidiary god of the Giant King, the goddess of harvest, Amibella. According to the City of Silver's records, Amibella had descended to their city multiple times. Displaying 2 images. One image corresponding to light and goodness, with the harvest grace, life's precious embrace at the core of faith, viewing the people of the City of Silver as their own children, always ensuring a bountiful harvest, abundant reproduction of livestock and poultry, and rapid population growth. The main reason why they rarely suffered innocent slaughter and did not lack food. The other would bring desolation and death, and at that time, all the people knew phrases like extreme harvest is inevitable, accompanied by extreme desolation. Only life can quell the land's wrath. Death, like new life, is a common and beautiful thing. Nothing to be feared. We have accepted the land's gifts, so we must pay the price. If Amibella had descended in this form, she would inevitably demand blood sacrifices, with large numbers of humans as offerings. Even if the City of Silver did these things, sacrificing their own, they would sometimes still suffer famines lasting up to a year. And if they didn't, the famines may last up to 3 to 5 years. Is this what an era ruled by ancient gods was like? they were well off and this was their situation? The next page recorded the Giant King's court's words of praise for Amibella. What caught Lumin's attention was one sentence. The noble queen used her maternal nature to help the great king calm his emotions. What does this mean? Maternal nature helping the Giant King? Does Giant King expel excess characteristics, regain some sanity by giving birth? Oh, that makes sense. After about another 15 minutes, he turned to the stage of the Giant King's court's rapid decline. The city of Silver, which had obtained another divine-level artifact, had learned of the fall of the ancient god, the Giant King, and feared falling into the hands of the more brutal Devil Monarch. In such anxiety and unease, on a night without a crimson moon, Amibella appeared outside the city. She did not descend directly, but walked over, step by step. She was in poor condition, asked the believers to perform a ritual, sacrificing half their people to replenish her life force. The records of the subsequent situation were vague, but the result was clear. That night, man slew God, subject slew ruler, child slew mother. Damn! You're telling me this bitch died? She died to regular humans? Stop it. Stop. Bro, you died to regular people? Dude, we call people bums around here for a sequence 5 who died to 2 half-grade old ones, okay? Do you know how much fun we're gonna make of a sequence 0 dying to people without characteristics? Stop. Oh my god. You might be the bummiest bitch in this whole series. I don't care how fucking injured you were. Stop it. Stop it. After that day, the City of Silver discovered that Amibella's remains didn't have characteristics in the truest sense, but still possessed powerful force and terrifying authority. So is this not a characteristic, but more a uniqueness then? Because that would make sense. They didn't tell that Lord, the true origins of the divine level sealed artifact, gift of the land, until Mr. Fool, Angel of Redemption, came to save them. At this point, all records of Amibella ended, and the next came information about the artifact, Gift of the Land. Gift of the Land can naturally create an edible plant in any environment and promote its growth, reproduction, and abundant harvest within a 50-kilometer radius. It will turn all dead humans within a 50-kilometer radius into terrible evil spirits unless that human died by being murdered by a direct relative. Those who have eaten the food it creates have a strong connection with it and will turn into evil spirits within 300 kilometers. Seeing this record different from the official artifact description, LEMMiNO raised his head and looked at Mr. Sun. Every dead human will turn into an evil spirit? Even those slew below sequence 5 in life? Yes. As far as LEMMiNO knew, evil spirits were the strongest soul creatures. Even the weakest should be at the level of a sequence 5, while the strong ones could be demigods. What? This is terrifying. This is equivalent to mass-producing sequence 5 beyonders, some of whom could even be demigods. What's the maximum number of dead humans that can turn into evil spirits at a time? We've never tried, Mr. Sun said. I'm sorry. I apologize for my rudeness. He continued reading the materials of the artifact in the City of Silver. Damn. Amibella is definitely on the list for greatest bums. Oh my god, you know, that might be a good video. Top 5 bums in the Lord of the Mysteries verse? That might be a good video. The gift of the land can make the soil fertile within a 300-meter radius, making water flow abundant. Half my bank account just disappeared. Well, hey, you've got that. I think you said you've got some things coming, right? Make water flow abundant, increase the tendency for life to reproduce, and prevent even more unfavorable environmental conditions from stopping life from bearing offspring, reducing only the quantity and frequency. The gift of the land will randomly cause the land within 300 kilometers to become desolate, crops to fail completely, and plants to wither. Unless the desolation effect ends, the land will not become fertile again. This can be suppressed by angel-level abilities similar to purification, limiting the desolation to a very small area, unable to spread. If it is actively used, the gift of the land can cause all life within 30 meters to rapidly drain away until death. Similar abilities outside this domain will gradually wither and be weakened because of this. Lifeless dead who enter this domain will quickly return to death. The gift of the land can also fill a 50-kilometer radius with its various toxins, grow various beyonder plants beneficial to itself. Similarly, it can tame all animals without higher intelligence in the area and strengthen the tendency for every beyonder to lose control. Through contact, it can create dolls from soil, plants, lava, ores, or metals and give some life and power. The strongest dolls do not exceed Sequence 3 with a maximum of 9 demigod dolls. It can transform the environment, making even the abyss suitable for human survival. That's a crazy sentence. The wielder of the gift of the land will truly become one with the land, forests, water flows, mountains, ores, etc., and can use them to traverse with varying speeds. Every time one is hit by the gift of the land, they will face a test of losing control as well as a test of death. If unable to pass, they will lose control on the spot and die. So basically, you gotta do a survival check, and if you don't get a 15 or higher, you. The gift of the land can temporarily turn the wielder into a mythical creature, but require the wielder to be able to withstand the impact of mystical knowledge and mad thoughts brought about by the corresponding creature. It can give the wielder all female characteristics. Life that comes into contact with the gift of the land will either be cured of all injuries or disease or die instantly. What the fuck? All or nothing, baby. Imagine you're like on the verge of death and you're like, I got nothing to lose. You touch it, you're like, oh, I'm can peak, let's go. Which outcomes will occur cannot be divined beforehand. According to prophecy, females with Omibel's bloodline who have suffered betrayal by direct relatives will not experience the instant death outcome. So Lumion would not suffer the instant death outcome. So he would only ever suffer being cured of all injuries and disease, which means he's on the oh my god, this is so so you're telling me there's a universe in which Lumion has a circle set on himself, set to near death, where he's about to die, becomes in peak condition. He's about to die, comes in peak condition. He does this 9 times. The enemy finally gets him to the 10th trial. Then Lumion resets at 6 a.m. So he does another 9 sequence. So he does another 9, okay? He's now on the 19th run through of getting this motherfucker to near 0 HP. On the 19th run through, Lumion touches the fucking gift of the land. And is like, let's go one more time. What are we talking about? Those who do not meet the above condition, even if lucky enough to receive the healing effects, cannot use the gift of the land for more than 1 minute afterward. Otherwise, they will lose control or die. Here, Nova. Bro, this battle is gonna last like the celestial worthy of heaven and earth, who has existed for basically since the beginning of the universe, would be like, this bitch, he won't die, bro. Oh my god. He keeps coming back. It's like Apollo Creed versus Rocky. Like, bro, my fist is shattered on his face. I've broken my fist by hitting his fucking face so many times, and he won't give up. Those who understand the above information, if they do not possess godhood, are likely to become pregnant in the coming period, conceiving an unknown creature. Bye, Harsh. After reading the information, LEMMiNO finally understood why only females with Amibella's bloodline who had suffered betrayal could touch, pick up, or use the artifact. For others, it was purely a gamble with their lives and having no way to heal unless they had no way to heal their injuries or disease. No one would reasonably try, but it was very powerful, truly worthy of being a grade 0 artifact. And if used briefly, the negative effects are not completely unacceptable. It is just necessary to suppress the desolation effect and guard against enemies, turning into even more terrifying evil spirits after death. This was the part about Amibella, in poor condition, walking into the City of Silver, seeking sacrifice. According to Madam Magician at this time, Amibella had already had her identity and destiny stolen. The people of the City of Silver shouldn't have been able to know that the female giant before them was their goddess. Still Sag. But in the records of the City of Silver, undoubtedly knew it was Amibella, even without a hint of doubt. They considered it a fact that needed no verification, reflected in the records as just 2 sentences. LEMMiNO raised his head and looked at Mr. Sun and said, "What image did the goddess of harvest have when she walked into the City of Silver?" He remembered the previous 2 mentions that when Amibella had descended multiple times, mainly presenting 2 images. This made LEMMiNO suspect that whether Amibella had 2 identities, with harvest and reproduction having its destiny stolen, while desolation and death walked in. There was no record. Mr. Sun shook his head. LEMMiNO supported his cheek and pondered. Judging from the demand to sacrifice half the people, it does seem closer to the desolation and death. But if the harvest and reproduction image was stolen, is it possible to demand life to help one recover? Moreover, 2 images can be understood, but how can 2 identities be concentrated into one person? Surely she didn't steal the identity and destiny of another Amibella. She's not of the Marauder pathway, right? LEMMiNO deliberated and said, "I want to touch the gift of the land, to see what resonance Amibella's bloodline would bring." "Okay," Derek said. Wearing the simple white robe, he walked steadily in front, entering the round tower from the 2nd floor, then descended all the way through the deep dungeon, arriving at a pair of heavy stone doors. Behind the doors was a mottled staircase descending downwards, with points of light like dawn seeping from the depths, bringing some visibility. LEMMiNO found that walls on both sides of the staircase were damp, seemingly oozing many water droplets and tufts of dark, like black hair. The further down the staircase went, the brighter the dawn-like light became, and between the damp walls and hair-like black plants grew mushrooms of various colors, golden wheat ears, and the unique black-faced grass. LEMMiNO's heart palpitated as if returning to a mother's embrace. He heard the sound of blood flowing from within his own body. It really is Amibella. The invisible child of God is Amibella. His hair was growing inch by inch inside the cloak, his skin becoming more and more delicate. After descending, LEMMiNO saw sunlight coming from Mr. Sun. Pure, warm, sacred light filled the area, causing the forces of desolation to retreat. Seeing this, LEMMiNO associated it with the demoness's disease and plague. In such a domain of sunlight, the vast majority of mystical pathogens would perish, while a few ordinary pathogens may survive. Finally, LEMMiNO and Derek arrived at the large room. The room was permeated with the smell of soil, the scent of grass, and the fragrance of flowers, the ceiling, floor, and the walls covered with those hair-like things. In the center of the room, brown soil piled up with a withered, giant tree trunk inserted at the top. The tree trunk was just short of touching the ceiling, about 7 or 8 meters high, requiring 3 or 4 people's arm span to encircle it. Most of the bark on its surface had fallen off. The remaining parts were grayish-brown in color. Its core had become hollow, and the exposed wood pattern facing LEMMiNO and Mr. Sun were partly protruding and partly sunken. That silhouette used the branches on the tree as hands, its face extremely distorted, with 2 huge crimson flowers serving as eyes. Within the wood grain, traces of blood were visible. This is the gift of the land. The patches of sacred sunlight created by Mr. Sun merged with the points of dawn like light in the room. MX, how's it going? LEMMiNO felt his blood stirring already, feeling unusually close. The two were originally one. Lumen seemed to receive a call, subconsciously walking forward, his face emitting its own radiance. 1, 2, 3 steps, he came to the top of the pile of the soil, stopping in front of the giant withered tree. Derek did not stop her. Lumen took a breath, adjusted her state, prepared to use mere substitution, and then extended his palm, evenly proportioned flesh and fingers touching the withered tree. As soon as his fingers touched the dull-colored wood, a scene flashed in his mind. The sky hazy, seemingly shrouded in a dark mist, a huge light shadow that seemed to be able to support the heavens and the earth appearing in front, while behind were strange silhouettes. The scene flashed by, followed immediately by darkness without a hint of light. After an unknown time, the darkness and stillness cry came. "My child, Amibella." Lumen broke free from the illusion as if pushed away from the gift of the land. He felt a pain in his shoulder with a bit of coolness like moonlight. The contract mark from the abscessed hand being activated, but without producing any effects, bringing teleportation and blink. Adam? Abscessed hand was the one we got the... No, it was not Abscessed hand. Sorry, it was not Abscessed hand. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the messenger, penitent. That's what I was thinking of. Sorry. Abscessed hand was the vampire, right? It was the sequence 1 vampire. Vampire is one of her pathways. Makes sense. Of the Great Mother's path, or not the Great Mother, but the Mother Goddess of Depravity's pathways, right? Lumen turned his gaze to his shoulder. Before this, he had anticipated many things, but he hadn't anticipated the contract mark corresponding to the abscessed hand would have a reaction when he touched the gift of the land. Is this because the complete abscessed hand had corruption from the Great Mother, or does Handbro himself have some connection to Amibella? When he became 001's puppet and encountered me, he called out Amibella. Sorry. It was very strange that despite the abscessed hand being an angel, no high-level being remembered his original form. Combining this with the thoughts of reading the records of Amibella, Lumen suspected that whether Handbro was an angel whose identity may have been stolen, and who was eventually dismembered and sealed. However, this suspicion didn't explain one thing. Judging from Abscessed Hand's evolution towards femininity when all the parts were assembled, showing its characteristics related to a Sequence 1 beauty goddess, he must have either been deeply contaminated by the Great Mother or received corresponding boons. Who would dare to bear such a destiny? Amon would be like, this would be funny though. Perhaps Handbro both satisfies the condition of lacking necessary wisdom and receiving high-level boons, naturally reacting to matters of the child of God, and also has intricate connections to Amibella. He could be an angel of the moon pathway, which is adjacent to Amibella's path. I wonder how many high-level beings of the Second Epoch have survived, but they may not know about these matters, just like the round moon duke of the Sanguine. Lumen suppressed the doubts in his heart and looked again at the gift of the land. After the first contact, he had confirmed that he wouldn't die on the spot because of this, so he tried to press his palm again on the grayish-brown tree trunk. The fragrance of flowers and the fishy smell of blood pierced his nostrils before his eyes again appeared hazy, dark mist. The huge light shadow that could support the heaven and the earth and the strange silhouette outlined. This time, Lumen felt pain, terror, and madness of wanting all things to return to the earth. He fell into a similar darkness without a hint of light, quiet to the point of stillness. As time passed, a shrill cry sounded, calling for her child, Amibella, making Lumen come to his senses. Feeling the stinging pain and coolness in his ear again, he endured this time, not being pushed away. The darkness shattered, and Lumen saw the light of dawn. Saw faces full of determination, felt anger and pain, At this moment he heard a voice, a woman's voice. Zadis. Lumin woke up, and what entered his eyes was the distorted face outlined by protrusions and depressions on the withered tree trunk, and 2 huge crimson flowers serving as the eyes. His palm rested against the tree trunk. What I saw and heard were those Amibella's last obsessions, the scene that left the deepest impression in her. Let me just write this in my notes. Zadis. I'm assuming that's Hanbro's name. That's my only guess. Does the world shrouded in dark correspond to her first death? Are the huge light shadows and one of the blurred figures the high-level being who stole her identity and destiny? But what does that silent darkness and cry represent? I've heard the cries in the depths of the underworld when I shared the senses of the creature inside the egg. The bird egg represents gestation. Does that silent darkness correspond to Amibella's state before birth, or her state before gaining a new life? Does that voice crying out pull Amibella back from the depths of death, giving her new life? Was this new life reset identity and destiny, making the theft ineffective? The protagonists of the third scene are the Dawn and Face humans, with emotions of anger and hatred, corresponding to Amibella being killed by the City of Silver. Who do you think is calling out to Amibella? Could be a couple options. Could be obviously the Great Mother. Could be Ormir, maybe? Could be, weirdly enough, because we keep going back to the underworld. I don't know why, but maybe it could be something like not Farbauti, but who was in charge of the underworld of the ancient gods? I can't remember. Who amongst them was part of the Gregarious, it could be her too somehow. Phoenix ancestor Gregarious. I don't know. Who was Zadis at the end? As these thoughts flashed through Lumin's mind, he turned his head to Mr. Sun and said, "May I know if you've heard of the name Zadis? You can just speak casually. In the church, no one is nobler than another." But no, I have not heard this name. Was there no one called Zadis amongst the brass of the City of Silver when Amibella came? No. Zadis wasn't the one who killed her. Who could it be? Could it be Handbro's name? Fuck you, I got there first, bitch. Alright, no worries. Bye, buddy. Appreciate you coming by. So listen, guys. I don't think we're gonna make it to a chapter 1000 this stream. Or this week. But hey, we got to 900. That's pretty good, right? We're basically at 900. We'll be at 900 tomorrow. That's pretty good. What do we got? Like 300 chapters left? We're laughing. End of July, mid-August latest, we'll be done. Then we're done. When are you streaming next? Sometime tomorrow, Aaron. I have an appointment for the car. Yes, I promised last fucking car thing. This is fine. This one's fine though. It's in warranty, so this one I don't have to pay for, so I don't give a fuck. I have a car appointment tomorrow. Whenever that gets done and I get home, it'll be around this time, maybe a little earlier. I don't know. Maybe a little later, rather. Since Handbro could call out to Amibella to me, causing this contract to mutate when I touched the gift of the land. Theoretically, Amibella's consciousness and the gift of the land could also detect Handbro's contact mark on me and call out his name. Lumen withdrew his hand and waited for a few seconds and then pressed his palm to the tree trunk again. Bye! The previous illusions and auditory hallucinations reappeared, but there was no added content. Lumen sighed, adjusted his cloak, and pressed his other hand to the gift of the land. He then gritted his teeth as the vessels on his neck bulged. This made Mr. Sun's eyelids twitch, as if he hadn't expected such a lady to have such a cold expression. Soon the soil began to loosen, and Lumen pulled that tree trunk. The entire city of Silver trembled. Lumen lifted the 7 or 8 meter high withered tree trunk, trying to swing it. It can be barely used to smash people, but it would reduce agility to the lowest level, and speed would also decrease. Lumen made a judgment on whether he could use the gift of the land to fight, and put the tree trunk back. Oh wow. Simultaneously, he felt a certain power in his bloodline surge, as if something was gestating. Lumen raised his hand and pressed it towards the corresponding point on his stomach with quiet, eerie flames. For a moment he experienced maternal emotions of reluctance and pity, but this wouldn't stop him from infusing the black flames into his abdomen. Pain, loss, and sadness surged into his heart, and his face turned pale. This made Derek help but ask, "Do you need my help to dispel the negative effects?" "No, a small matter," Lumen smiled. "Even beyonders with godhood may conceive after touching the land of the gift, and those with Amibella's bloodline are even more likely. We don't have any record of this. Historically, we have needed to actively use this artifact very rarely, and each time the user died." Lumen didn't say any more, turned around and walked out, with Mr. Sun trailing behind quietly. In this hotel... Damn, this book gets dark, man. This book, I feel like, at points is way darker than book 1 was. What the fuck? In the hotel room, Lumen wrote down the gains and questions from the records in a letter. He then summoned the doll messenger and handed the letter and a mirror. With this marked mirror, he could transmit information directly to Madam Magician. The messenger took the letter and mirror and didn't leave immediately. Wearing a light golden dress, leaned against the window frame and examined Lumen. "What are you looking at?" Lumen asked. "Don't you know how beautiful you look right now?" The messenger jumped up. "Beautiful enough for me to ignore that you're still wearing men's clothing. Enough for me to forgive why you haven't made yourself tidier." The messenger then waved his hand and said, "See you next time." "See you next time," Lumen replied. After about 15 minutes, the messenger emerged. "We meet again!" Indeed. Lumen was a bit helpless. He took the envelope, opened it, and found that the letter inside was very thin, mainly containing additional green gemstone. The gemstone was deep and alluring in its crystalline green color. Lumen looked at it for a brief moment, but felt as if his vision and soul were sinking into it, and looked away and unfolded the paper. The theft of Amibella's identity and destiny had not become ineffective before the 5th epoch. We will inquire about the name Zetas from the ancient beings who survived the 2nd epoch, including seeking revelation from even higher beings. The origination of this name may not involve the mysteries surrounding Amibella. That green gemstone was made at my request by Madam Justice, with the purpose of helping you seal part of the knowledge related to great existences. Although you still have a lot of corruption in seals, as long as you don't recall that knowledge, it shouldn't be a problem. But we can't guarantee you won't encounter situations where you'll need to recall it. Before you possess a true or false angel rank, this hypnotic effect will not be lifted. Lumen understood the reason and looked at the gem again, allowing his mind to sink into it. When he came to his senses, the gemstone became ordinary, and he had forgotten part of his knowledge. "See you next time," the messenger said. "See you next time," Lumen responded. Leaving the room, Lumen said to Franka, Jenna, Ludwig, and the others, "We're going back home now." He just got pregnant as a side effect? Yep. Alright, let's just do 893 and then we'll call it here, okay? We'll just do one last chapter. That's it. I haven't even done anything, I'm just tired. Oh, it's like, you know those days when it's like rainy and gloomy outside and you just don't feel like doing anything? That's literally today. I just want to lay in bed. Inside the newly rented apartment of LEMMiNO and others. We're going to the catacombs now, LEMMiNO said to Jenna and Franca. Before Franca contacted the Demoness of Black again, he wanted to get more intel from Crismona's shadow to guard against possible accidents, requiring Jenna to advance to a Demoness of Affliction. Jenna looked at LEMMiNO and asked, "Do you need to change your clothing underneath? It'll make you more comfortable." "Okay," LEMMiNO said. Now it was Jenna's turn to be surprised. She had thought LEMMiNO would be more resistant. Franca was equally astonished. When she had drank the witch potion, she hadn't accepted such things so quickly. As her eyes flickered, she made a quick guess, her emotions becoming rather complex. Except for height, LEMMiNO's figure was now similar to Jenna's. After receiving a few pieces of clothing, he walked into the bedroom, not completely letting go despite the more intimate relationship between the three of them. Seeing this, Jenna understood and turned her back to Franca. Franca sighed. Jenna followed. Soon after, LEMMiNO came out, wearing the linen men's shirt and dark trousers with a spirited, dashing air. Franca looked at him and said, "You're too tall. You need to find a tailor to make custom-fitted women's clothing." LEMMiNO acknowledged and walked to the full-length mirror in the living room, looking at himself with his black hair tied back. The stunningly beautiful, yet cold, expressionless woman in the reflection made him feel a moment of disorientation. He reached into the traveler bag and took out Lie. His hand hovered in midair, not putting it on. Franca stepped forward. "I don't think you should force it now. The premise for Aurora's resurrection is that you maintain your sense of self and reach the top of the two pathways. Her soul fragment should gradually revive. You don't need to act or imitate her. Moreover, Madam Magician guesses that the part of Aurora's resurrection lies within unaging. It may not be a good thing to let her manifest now." Yes, I don't know if your sister ever taught you this, but too much of a good thing. It means that even good things can become bad if taken to excess, Franca added. LEMMiNO then put the traveler Lie earring back on in the bag. Franca quietly sighed and said, "Do you need a hat or a veil, or will you continue to wear the cloak? Looking like this, you'll become the center of attention for everyone." As a fellow demoness, she and Jenna had both had experiences of similar situations. LEMMiNO picked up the cloak, draped over the back of a nearby chair, and put it on. As the hood covered her features, LEMMiNO turned around and walked to the door. Jenna put on a round lady's hat with a black veil, while Franca prepared a baseball cap. On the third level of the catacombs, LEMMiNO threw out several mirrors, setting up a mirror maze. This way, even if other people came to this level to explore, they wouldn't be able to see the three demonesses and their companions. Jenna adjusted her state and prepared the potion. Franca, looking towards the boundary, showed no signs of abnormality. As expected of a demigod, though I know the real surrounding area has been hidden by a maze, I can't see anything. In comparison to her own mirror maze, she could never reach this level. Before LEMMiNO could respond, she asked, "When do you plan to give Voisin's corpse to Ludwig?" After Voisin's death, he had already been deeply corrupted by the power of inevitability, and continuing to stay in the mirror world was quite dangerous. LEMMiNO thought for a moment and said there's no rush. By stringing him along a bit, perhaps the ritual to advance Sequence 3 of Hunter will require team cooperation too. Having a Hunter team member like this could reduce the number requirement significantly. Besides, whether it's you digesting the remaining affliction or Jenna digesting affliction, we can make use of Ludwig. If we give him all the benefits now, how can we make him reluctant to leave? Seeing LEMMiNO considering returning to Sequence 3 of Hunter, Jenna felt a wave of joy. Anthony is also about to become a Sequence 5, just waiting for the final preparations, LEMMiNO added. When did that happen? Franca said. He told me yesterday, while you were advancing matters related to the Demoness sect, he was also completing Madame Justice's tasks. He's already established contact with the psychology alchemist and naturally received corresponding rewards. He's been applying to the hypnosis ability all along, including helping me, and completed the digestion some time ago. What he needs now is to go to the spirit world to contact a certain creature, gaining the characteristic of maintaining clarity in dreams. This can also be substituted by other methods, and Ludwig's dishes may be able to help. Damn, we really haven't been caring about Anthony enough. For a spectator, he might not want you to care too much. LEMMiNO glanced at the mirror maze. Just like he's here now, ready to placate Jenna if their situation goes wrong. He's here? At this time, Jenna, who had already eaten the ice lemon fish fillet, had prepared the affliction potion, which was black based with green foam on top. Lumion raised both his hands, and behind Jenna, a crystal ice pillar with multiple protrusions rose from the ground. Then Jenna handed the affliction potion to Lumion and climbed to the top of the ice pillar, allowing Franca to tightly bind her. Bright white ravens lit up all around Lumion and flew out, landing on Jenna's body surface. Jenna was set on fire, her expression twisting. Lumion stepped on layers of frost condensed airs coming to Jenna's front and poured the potion in her mouth. Jenna's mind began to blur and the pain in her body pulling at her. Sorry, my dad just messaged. Give me 1 second. Bad timing. Bad timing. Jenna's mind began to blur, the pain in her body pulling at her, keeping her last bit of clarity. Lumion then floated lightly from the top of the stairs to her, to the ground, focusing on sensing the surroundings. He was waiting for Crismona to arrive. Having lost Mr. Fool's seal, he couldn't enter. Currently couldn't enter the area surrounding the Samurai and Women's Spring. Franca kept watching Jenna, seeing her skin black and her face twist, contorting in pain. This made Franca distressed, more tormented than when she herself performed this ritual. Suddenly, Lumion's eyes took on an iron-black color. He felt that Crismona's shadow, or rather her consciousness, had descended. Yet he couldn't see her. Jenna's thoughts continued to drift, her sense of self gradually losing itself. She recalled the pain and joy of her time with Lumion, and also remembered that experience of Franca finding pleasure in her inner emotions during that period, addicted because of enjoyment. In this state, Jenna had no way of knowing whether she had been noticed by the primordial demoness. By the time she had regained some of her thoughts, a sacred figure wearing a plain white robe had appeared. "Lady Crismona," Jenna called out. "Why does the primordial one hate pure female demonesses? My mother hates those who don't experience the pain of gender change, and she's also guarding against them." "Why guard against them?" Jenna asked. "Pure female demonesses after becoming angels, or perhaps after becoming Sequence 3, may encounter a terrifying matter. They may overcome it, and they may not. If they cannot, it is a very big problem for my mother. She can't let it happen." "What about you?" "So I died. Let me tell you about the time I died." Before the words faded, Crismona faded away. "What's the terrifying matter?" Jenna rushed to ask. "That mirror world." Crismona's shadow quickly dissipated, leaving only half the sentence. Jenna came to her senses, seeing her charred skin falling off while the ropes had burned through at some unknown time. She concealed her form and sought a corner to change clothes. Seeing this, Franca sighed and let out a torment of pain. At the same time, she seemed to hear Lumion also let out a sigh of relief. "Let's go, baby." Alright, I think we'll call it there. We're at, what, 2.5 hours for the stream? That's quite decent, I think. Alright, we'll be at 900 tomorrow. Nice shit. Alright, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I'll catch y'all either tonight for Outer Wilds or tomorrow for COI. Alright, that's it. Bye, guys.